folk were seldom abroad in daylight. Who else, then, in this lonely place? She heard a man's muffled voice. "Help me, maiden," it called. "I am lost." Trig started to bound forward. The girl put a restraining hand on his thong collar. She waited, heart fast beating, until a man on horseback appeared in front of her. He had seen her before she did him, because of a rift in the mist, and because she wore, as did most Cornish women, a red woolen cloak. "I've been lost all day," the man said. He glanced at the straining, snapping dog. "Don't be afraid of me. I'm a stranger from far off." "Ah," said Merowyn, thinking this over. A stranger. She had never met one, not a real stranger with odd clothes and an accent. She examined him. While she did so, the mist broke and the sun poured down. The sunlight made of the young man a figure as vivid as the painting of St. Michael she had seen in the chapel at Roach. The stranger was dark, like her mother, like Cor, like all the folk she had ever seen. Yet he did not resemble these folk in any other way. His black hair, glossy as a raven's wing, was cut short above the ears. He had no beard on his lean jutting chin, and instead of coarse homespun, he wore a soft blue mantle furred with squirrel and embroidered at the hem. The mantle was held at the shoulder by a glittering enamelled brooch. He had long leather shoes with a design on them, and his legs were covered by blue trousers, then cross-gartered to the knee with linen strips. The expression of his thoughtful brown eyes was pleasant. She knew she need not fear him. The dog also knew this. He ceased snarling and sat down. "You're lost?" said Merowyn. "Where do you want to go?" "I'm bound for England, to King Edgar's court," said the young man, smiling. Merowyn looked blank. Not only was his accented speech hard for her to follow, but in all her 14 years she had never heard of anyone going to England, and barely knew that there was a king somewhere up there. "England?" she repeated, and when he nodded, she said, "That's so far." "I've just come from St. Gundred's," she added proudly. "I spent the night, but I don't know the way into England, where the wicked Sorsnarks live." "Where are you bound for now, maiden?" he asked, eyeing her with amusement. She looked like many of the Cornish girls he had seen on isolated farms as he passed. The bare, dirty feet, the drab homespun kirtle, the red, muddy mantle, the long, flowing hair, somewhat tangled, and yet her colouring was different. The hair was ruddy, like a horse chestnut, not black. Her eyes were not dark either. They were like rippled sea-water, blue, flecked by green lights. He did not consider her pretty. On her rosy cheeks and short-snubbed nose there were freckles, and she held herself awkwardly, being embarrassed by his scrutiny. Yet her earnestness was appealing, and she looked intelligent. "For home," she said, pointing at the coracle. "Down the river a league or so." "Is yonder giant yours?" he asked, indicating Cor, who was still holding the coracle and waiting incuriously for orders. "Does he know the way into England?" She shook her head. "Cor only knows what we tell him." She hesitated a while, added reluctantly, "At Padstow, where I live, there are some monks. Perhaps they could tell you." "Come with me, then," he said, patting his horse's rump. "Up here to guide me. That lout can take the boat down himself, can't he?" After a moment she assented. She told Cor what to do, then clambered up on the horse behind the stranger, putting her arms around his waist as he directed. The feel of a man's body so close was peculiar. She did not understand the rush of warmth it gave her, or the giddiness. Perhaps it was the scent of his mantle, she thought, like the sweet smoke from burning turf, like gorse. Strange but a man should smell fragrant. Cor smelled of sweat and dung. "What is your name?" she whispered. "Ramier de Provence," he said over his shoulder. "That's hard for the Celtic tongue to say. Call me Ruman, as they did in Brittany. I'm used to it."
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.